It's time for another edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout, sponsored by Grinnell State Bank and Total Choice Shipping and Printing. Next week, we'll be doing a podcast from Pals in Grinnell, sponsored by Grinnell Realty, who have their toy drive coming up. Drop off a new toy, a brand new unwrapped toy at Grinnell Realty right there as you get into Grinnell on the highway. It's not hard to find at all, and bring it there. And boy, you're going to make some child's Christmas a lot brighter that way. Also want to plug that we're going to be talking about the new all-inclusive playground that they have going on at Central Park in Grinnell. It's a great idea, and we'll be finding out more about that in just a couple moments. But first, I want to plug our sponsors, Total Choice Shipping and Printing. Alicia Blankenfeld came over to my ribbon cutting at the Grinnell Chamber of Commerce the other day, and I thanked her personally at that ribbon cutting for being the first of what I hope will be many sponsors of the Out and About with Jamie Grout Grinnell-focused podcast. And the folks at Total Choice are now offering FedEx One rate just in time for the holiday season. 2-day retail shopping, one flat rate. FedEx One rate offers 4 different sizes of boxes and 1 size of envelopes. Each size of FedEx box and envelope will have its own price. And as long as it fits inside the box, it is shipped within the U.S. Hey, the flat rate is just $17.95 at Total Choice Shipping and Printing in Grinnell. Make sure you stop by and say hi to Corey and Alicia and tell them Jamie sent you. Also, the gang at Grinnell State Bank sponsoring the Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast for Grinnell. They have 4 different locations: Grinnell, Johnson, Marengo, and Polk City. And you can get started opening your account in just 15 minutes at Grinnell State Bank. If you're not sure what you need, check out Simply Banking and open your accounts online or in person at any of their 4 locations at Grinnell State Bank. This Grinnell-focused podcast is with Jordan Alsop, who is the Parks and Recreation Director in Grinnell. And the Chamber of Commerce in Grinnell recommended that I talk to him. I didn't know about this, but it sounds like a fantastic idea, and I'm excited about it. And I'm sure the people of Grinnell are too. But I wanted to talk about the all-inclusive playground that you have going on. Jordan, where did this idea come from in the first place?
Yeah, so it actually came from a community member here in Grinnell. In August of 2021, she had came to a park board meeting and kind of expressed the concerns of the playground equipment in the community. She has a grandchild that is wheelchair bound and would come to visit, and had difficulties finding a playground to be able to utilize to, the best of her abilities. So after she brought that to our attention, we did a kind of an inventory of all of our playgrounds and our city parks. And, we determined, even though that they do meet ADA standards by ADA standards sakes, they're not the most inclusive pieces of equipment to allow a child that, has some disabilities to be able to utilize like any other child without the help of caretaker or their guardian. So from that point forward, we did some investigative work through different playground sale and manufacturing companies to see what they had to offer. We met with a couple of them specifically. And then we also decided to go out and check other playgrounds in the area that are inclusive. The closest one to us at the time was down in Pella.
Okay.
And that one opened here a few years ago. And before that, really the closest ones to Grinnell were in the metropolitan areas. And then ultimately we decided to work with Cunningham Recreation. They have a sales office out of Ankeny. They're a reputable company nationwide. And that's what kind of brought us to those specific pieces of equipment that were installed here this fall.
So let's talk about those pieces of equipment, Jordan. What makes them all inclusive?
Yeah, so you have ramp access for children in wheelchairs that need to get to certain places. So it's not just stairs like you see on typical structures. There's a merry-go-round that is ground level that allows a child in a wheelchair to access and get onto. We have a teeter-totter that has high backs for stability for those children that need that vestibular support. There's sensory panels for different colors and interactive pieces for those children that might be on the autistic spectrum that go to that type of stuff. The floor is like the existing playground up there. It's a poured in place rubber surface. So it's just like basically walking across spongy concrete.
Wow.
And then the biggest piece of equipment we have out there is a dance and play arch that actually comes from the Netherlands.
A dance and play arch. I've never heard of that before. Tell me about that.
So it's a large arch. It literally it's like a miniature version of the arch in St. Louis. That's that type of shape. And then there's a colorful dance floor. It's like a turf, like a synthetic turf that has different colors and numbers. And a circular formation around it. And then there's sensors up at the top of this arch that matches the movement of the player with those colors and numbers on the floor with whatever game that is.
So does that require electricity then?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. So there is we had an electrician come out and hook that up when it was installed. There's a button on the side that allows the user to cycle through 5 preset games that we have selected. And we have the ability to select through about 25 games right now. And then there's a QR code out there that the user can scan with their phone, and they can actually select any of the 25 games that is available to that.
Wow.
Yep. And it has different games, from dancing games from like there's a aerobics style game in there. There's different type of mathematics, so educational type of games. So kids have to memorize numbers and break codes and things like that. One of the cool things that we're excited about coming up here in the next month is they do have seasonal games. So they'll have a Christmas style game coming up in the month of December that we can cycle to. So, and that is the most inclusive piece out there. Not only is that just designed for children, like most playgrounds are 2 to 12 years old, but it's for the whole family. It can be used for therapeutic recreation as well for senior citizens. So.
Where's this located?
At Central Park.
Central Park. Okay, sure. That's neat. And you just had your ribbon cutting for this,
We did, had our ribbon cutting, and it was a great success. We had 40 to 50 people show up for that. All of our partners that generously donated to the project. We raised about $280,000 for the project. So.
Well, that leads me to my next question. How was it funded anyway?
Yeah, so it was a mixture. It was between, private donations, city funding, and grants.
Well, that is fantastic. So you went to Pella and you found out about this place. It must have been pretty impressive to you. Did you take notes? And
we did. So that's the fun thing about that dance and play arch. There is actually one down in there in Pella, and that's where the idea came for this arch. This arch is only the 3rd one in the state of Iowa. So we kind of view it as a kind of a little touristy attraction there that we can kind of promote to get people to come to Grinnell and use our playground.
That is fantastic. What a great idea. I think all cities should have something like this. I don't know if they have it in Newton, but if they don't, I'm going to propose it to them because I'm sure there are some of the same obstacles as you say. They're approved by ADA, but it's a close call.
Correct. Yeah. So like most playgrounds, they have transfer stations and things like that a kid will still need help to get into that playground structure. And what we've kind of found through our research too, with these playground companies, is that 85 out of 1,000 children have some sort of disability. It might not be visible on the surface physically, but there's different ways that we can incorporate inclusive play into our playgrounds.
As a child, I was epileptic. Now, when I was 18 or so, luckily, thank God, I grew out of it. It was petit mal epilepsy, but I did have a disability. And as you say, people didn't know. My teachers didn't know. The only people that knew were my mom and dad and my sister. They kept it a secret. And so there's a lot of stuff going on with kids that could use this where people would not have any idea that they had any kind of disability at all, I'm sure.
Yeah. And the great thing about this is it is a place where they can go to play with other children who don't have those disabilities.
Right.
That it is inclusive to everyone, and gives them a place to play together and learn together. We're not segregating them away.
Right. It's like a sense of normalcy, for heaven's sakes, and that's what we need, the way we need to look at things. So that's great.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. And is it open? How often is it open? I mean, are there set hours for this?
Yeah. So, the playground is available when our parks are open. So our parks are open from 6 in the morning till 11 at night. Right now we have the dance and play arch is on a timer that it doesn't operate until 8 in the morning, and it shuts off at 9 p.m. But yeah, it's just like any other playground that we have. It's open when the parks are open.
It's great. And through the winter months too, right?
Through the winter months,
exactly.
even when there's snow on the ground, I mean, people can get on it if they want to.
Like you said, the Arch and Play will have a Christmas themed one. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you have going on? Let's talk about some of the other things going on for the future of the Grinnell Parks and Recreation Department, Jordan.
Yeah. So one of the big things we have coming up, and we're about ready to kick it off here next month, would be updating our Master Parks and Recreation Improvement Plan. So that basically is a tool that will guide us for the next 10 years, what improvements we can make to not only our parks, our facilities, but our recreation programming and our policies and all that kind of good stuff. So we're really excited about that. The last one was completed in 2007, and we've come to the point where we've accomplished most, if not all, of that plan. And we're looking to update for the future.
Do you have pickleball courts yet?
We have indoor lined here at our rec center.
Okay.
We don't have city dedicated outdoor pickleball courts.
Yeah, Newton just got that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There is some here at the Arns Park. Which is, owned by the Arns Park Foundation.
Sure.
So that, that might be something that the community tells that they desire. And that's the great thing about this process. There'll be ample opportunities for community members to give us their feedback and input.
Is soccer big here as it is? It seems like in a lot of places.
Yeah, we, our rec soccer program, it starts at age 3 and goes through about 8th grade. And I think this fall we had around 250 participants.
Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, they just opened, I guess you could call it a soccer at Maytag Park in Newton. It's like a practice court for kids who want to get into soccer and that kind of thing too. So there's always different things to be added to parks. It must be kind of hard sometimes deciding what your priorities are and what the park board decides.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been blessed. I got a good group to work with. So, a lot of the things that we bring to the table are, means and visions of our board.
And things that are unique to Grinnell. I love Kites Over Grinnell.
Yep.
I did a podcast about that with Bruce Blankenfeld, who's with the Rotary Club, and we provided the sound for it too. And you don't find a whole lot of places that do something like that. So that's really, really neat. That's so fantastic. Grinnell is a progressive community with so many fantastic ideas. And here at Arns Park, you got all kinds of stuff going on. What all is located here at Arns Park anyway? Because there's several different buildings and lots of land available.
Yep, and there's different entities out here that all lease the space. So, the City of Grinnell Parks and Rec Department is one of those leaseholders out here who we operate the rec center. We hold the master lease on the soccer complex. We run flag football program out here for the youth. All the basketball leagues, all that good stuff. There's the Grinnell Early Learning Center, which is, a preschool and a daycare. We have the Tiger Baseball Softball Club operates the youth baseball softball program for the community out here on the complex. There's travel soccer. There's different foundations within the foundation office over here. So there's a lot of different entities.
Well, and I don't know if you can speak to this because you're in charge of the Parks and Rec Department, but maybe you can. I'll just throw it out there. But like at Newton, I'm very surprised that the Early Learning Center, the daycare center at the YMCA in Newton employs like 40 people. So do you have a lot of folks employed here? Are there a lot of people?
I believe they do. I'm not for sure that number, but I definitely do see quite a few different faces when I have to go over there for certain things. Since there's a little tiny pool in that building that we also operate and hold programs out of. So
now, getting back to the inclusive playground, does it need continuous funding or is it set once it's there?
It's pretty much set now.
Okay.
So, there might be other opportunities for playground projects here in the future as we go through this planning process. But that project is pretty much done.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, kudos to you and your park board and all the people who do this. If people want more information on the Parks and Rec in Grinnell and what you have going on here, how can they find out about that, Jordan?
Yeah. So the easiest way would be getting onto the City of Grinnell's website. and the Parks and Recreation department there. It has all of our contact information and email, phone numbers, all that good stuff.
I got to say, I'm looking at your Cincinnati Bengals banner, and I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Usually, I'm a Chiefs fan. What can I say? 9-0. They got really lucky the last game, and they've been that way. I don't know if they're going to be able to go through the whole season undefeated or not, but usually Cincinnati is one of the big nemesis of the Chiefs. But sorry, not so much this year.
Yeah, I've been a little unlucky in a few games, but there's still hope to turn it around before the playoffs. But
you bet.
We'll see.
All right. And again, go to the City of Grinnell website if you want to find out more about the Parks and Rec Department.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
On this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout, our interview guest has been Jordan Alsop, who is Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Grinnell. Until next time, Grout is out. See ya.